So this seems to be a complete project. Box will be made afterwards. So let me tell you more what happened here. Those solenoids that I was talking about earlier with bad connections on them, I took a speaker wire and I basically soldered the wires onto the coil itself, where the coil connects to the terminals, and took a different size tube, zip tied the solenoid so it works, it holds. Relay is under here. Seems fine. All the connectors, all the wires are inserted and locked in. The other problem I found here was the terminals. This was supposed to be connected to the terminals of the cell, and then the wire inserted inside. The problem is the hole in these fittings is too small for the wire to fit in, so I can't use that. I really can't use that. That was a waste of parts. But anyways, fuse went up to here. Tips are soldered, so it fixated inside very nicely. I'm going to put something at the front between the tank and the cell itself to keep them spread apart, otherwise it's gonna sink in over the time under the weight. And I've used a speaker wire instead of the thick wire I've been given, because that's just too thick and too short, and they give those wires and then they give you a switch, but switch again has those fittings and they're too small for the wires I've been given. So switch I'm going to mount into the car dash, cut little hole, stick it inside, and use a speaker wire. There's no amperes, so speaker wire will hold no problem. And I got some spare hose that will actually run through the whole car to the air intake, and that's my hose. It didn't came with it. No amp meter yet. I'm not going to install it yet. I'll do it later once I get proper amp meter. Shrink tubing didn't get used since these things, I couldn't put them on to prevent the bolt from untying, and shrink tubing, that would be stupid, because then it will start heating up. As metal heats up, wire heats up, it's going to expand and contract, and the bolts are going to become loose over time. So I want to keep an eye on them, so there I will have no sparks or loose in the current. And yeah, there's also this blue strip. Apparently that is the warranty strip. So as much as it seems like a big red button that you shouldn't push, you shouldn't really peel off this strip either. So that's that. I've plugged it, I've connected the assembly to the battery. Check valve and relay seem to be clicking no problem, and the thick wires I'll connect later in the car, but first to the car starter and see if it bubbles up and how much before this whole thing goes in the car. That will be filmed from the garage, and you'll see the progress.